So, growing up, eat, sleep, work, repeat has been the ideal phrase for having a traditional lifestyle. But what happens when you find yourself in the same cycle of behavior? Would you ever feel like change could be impossible? Well, here's the truth: change is possible if you truly want it. With that being said, follow along with me today as I will show you some tips and tricks on how it's never too late on making the first step into making the choice to change. Okay, so first, you want to be able to identify your limiting beliefs. And what I mean by this is you want to be able to see what's holding you back from getting from point A to point B. What's stopping you from making a positive change in your life. So ideally, these include, negative thoughts in your mind saying, oh, I'm not good enough for this. It's too hard. This is impossible. Nobody can do this. The only person that can do this is someone as an expert. All these negative thoughts in your mind, you want to be able to identify them. And what you want to do is you want to be able to write it down. Write down what's stopping you. What's the roadblock between from point A to point B? Write it down, and then what you want to do after is you want to be able to have supportive facts. So support the evidence. If it's facts, if it's assumptions, write it down. Then what you want to do is you want to be able to actually visualize it, see it in a positive manner. Think about it. Once you write it down and have the facts, think about it in a more positive route. Think about it how it could be in a positive way, what the outcome could lead to. You don't want to have any negative thoughts like, oh, like it's gonna, end up being bad for me because this, that, and the third. Find something that's gonna be more in a positive outcome because it's gonna encourage you to do more of it, or it's going to encourage you to actually follow through with it rather than just, leave it in the dust and never looking at it again. And then the last thing is you want to be able to actually take the action and do it. You're going to get the results if you take the action. If you don't, you're just going to have it planned out and never know if it's truly true or not. So take the action and you're going to get your results. So tip number 2 is going to be embracing your self-awareness. Basically, what this means is you want to be able to be honest with yourself for a moment, and you want to be able to write down what are your strengths. Basically, what sets you apart from the competition. You want to be able to see, okay, am I a good listener? Am I a good writer? Do I know how to manage time effectively? Things like that, things that are definitely going to help you out later on in life. You want to be able to write them down because I'm telling you right now, it's going to help you out. And then after that, next to the list that you write for your strengths, you want to be able to write a list for your weaknesses. So for weaknesses, it could be that you don't have good work ethic, you're not a morning person. Things that actually are effective and that actually can help you out in the world. Basically, things that actually have a meaningful impact within you as well. And you want to be able to find that those weaknesses and see, okay, this is what I need to improve on. Because after you write down your weaknesses, what you want to do is you want to be able to start at least making improvement each day. And basically, let's say, for example, you don't know how to manage your time effectively. Okay, that's fine, perfect. What you could do is you could start writing things down, planning it out the day before, and seeing how to manage your time more effectively. Because all these little steps are obviously going to make a bigger impact later on. So you want to be able to start now as soon as possible. You want to be able to actually identify the weaknesses that you're trying to work on. All right, so tip number 3 is you want to be able to challenge your comfort zone. So currently right now, wherever you feel comfortable with, whatever you're doing right now and you feel most content, you want to be able to eliminate that feeling by trying something new and implementing something that's going to make you, think otherwise or limit or challenge your beliefs. So try something new. Let's say, for example, that, you're a quiet person and, you don't really like to talk to people as, you may be shy or whatnot. Actually, take that extra step and talk to someone new, whether it's a stranger on the street or just even a person. Let's say if you're at like a coffee shop and they're making you coffee or whatever, try to attempt to talk to them. Just talk to anyone, as that will gain you confidence. You want to be able to find different areas where you feel like, in your mind, you can't do it because you believe in yourself that you can't do it, but in reality you could do it. So that is basically what it means, to challenging your comfort zones, because at the end of the day, we're all here to improve ourselves. So being able to kind of step out of comfort zones and doing things that we originally didn't think that we could do is a good way in order for you to continue on developing yourself and changing your old ways and making new ways. Next tip is going to be learning from your setbacks. So ideally, whenever you're going to start off on trying something new and implementing something different into whatever you're feeling comfortable right now, you're obviously going to need some type of way to reflect on it and see how can you improve the next day or the next time you attempt it. So with that being said, you want to be able to grab yourself either like a journal or notepad, just something where you can be able to write it down and see, okay, this is what I attempted today, this is what I could have done better, and then tomorrow or the next day, whatever time you attempt it, before you do it, make sure you read your notes or wherever you write it down and just actually, when you go into it, figure out, this is how I could have done better. So then when you're actually doing it, you know not to make the same mistake twice. In addition, whenever it comes to trying something new, you're gonna fail at the beginning. Let's be honest. But of course, at the beginning, it's gonna suck. But gradually over time, you're gonna make progress. You know what I mean? Everyone who starts off small is not gonna be, you know, reaching the highest limit, by day 2 or day 3. It's gonna take time. So don't feel discouraged. Don't feel, like you're a failure, because everyone obviously starts somewhere, and the amount of times that you fail is just gonna increase your chance of actually perfecting it. So don't get discouraged. All right. So the last tip is going to be to celebrate your progress. You want to be able to celebrate your progress because let's be honest, whenever you feel like you couldn't have done anything and you actually accomplished it, you felt good, you felt rewarded, you felt content. Now it's time to treat yourself. Whether that's patting yourself on the back, whether that's even hanging out with a couple of friends, whether it's even buying yourself something like, let's say, a coffee or a piece of clothing that you've been looking for. Whatever it is, you definitely want to celebrate it and actually acknowledge it, because let's be honest, when you actually first start off on doing something that you never thought of doing, and countless times you told yourself, no, you're not good enough, no, you can never accomplish it, no, this is not even made for you. Those times are actually important, because when you actually do accomplish it, it makes you feel good and it makes you feel like you are actually on the right path towards your success. So, rewarding yourself is never a bad thing. It doesn't have to be extravagant. It doesn't have to be, staying in a hotel for the weekend. It doesn't have to be, buying yourself $100 a piece of clothes. You don't want to go too crazy, because, once you get to the bigger accomplishments, then I can say, all right, buy yourself a little bit more, buy something extra or whatever, spend a little bit more money than what you originally did. Because, when it comes to small goals, you want to be able to, at least reward yourself in some type of sort of small way. But then when it comes to bigger goals, goals that actually take longer to accomplish, goals that actually, countless times you failed, countless times you thought that, this is it, I'm going to give up, and you actually stay through and actually accomplish it. Those are the types of goals where you actually definitely want to be able to spend a little bit more money, because in those times you felt like you were never going to get to that point where you thought that this was it and I should just turn back around and never look back at what's in front of me. So definitely in those types of scenarios, you definitely want to be able to buy yourself something more, a little bit more expensive and a little bit more rewarding for you. So that's it. Thank you. All right, so let's go over what we learned today. So first, you want to be able to identify your limiting beliefs. And what I mean by this is you want to be able to figure out what's setting you back from making a positive change in life. Once you figure this out, then you want to be able to challenge these beliefs, as this is the first step into making personal growth. And in order for you to identify these beliefs, you want to go over the 4-step process that I went over earlier, as in order to find and identify your beliefs. All right. So next, what we went over is you want to be able to embrace self-awareness. All right. So next, you want to be able to learn from your setbacks. And what I mean by this is you want to be able to reflect on the failures that you've been encountering in order for you to grow yourself as an individual. Learning from your setbacks is important as it's a good way for you to teach yourself on how to not make the same mistake twice. So with that being said, either get yourself a journal or get yourself some type of equipment or wherever you can write and figure out, okay, what am I doing now that I could do better at? That way you don't have to make it twice. And you all right. And then the last step that we went over was celebrating your progress. So it's definitely important to celebrate your progress and acknowledge it, as it's important to make sure that overall, you put in the hard work, you did the time and everything. So, having some time for yourself, whether that's, buying yourself something or spending some time with some friends, whatever it is, making sure that you celebrate the small wins is important, because it's just going to make you even more hungrier to be able to achieve the bigger wins. So, with that being said, celebrate the small wins, celebrate the big wins. Overall, keep doing what you're doing, and you're going to get to where you want quicker than you normally think you are. With that being said, thank you guys again for watching. I really do appreciate it. And let me know in the comments what you guys think.